I normally don't break my rule, which is don't review more than one album by a specific band in a short time frame, but it's been a while, and I really want to talk about the Adolescents again. Because I grew up with the Adolescents, such as Urban Waste, such as Bad Religion, No Effect, Dead Kennedys, Minor Threat, DOA, those, MDC, the Addicts, 7 Seconds, American Hardcore, although the Addicts are the UK, Subhumans the UK, not the Canadian band, I don't care for them much. DOA is Canada, they all kind of played with each other. Rich Kids on LSD, RKL. Fuck yes, I've had this shirt since the dawn of time. So they all kind of play with each other, so we're going to head on down to Orange County, and we are going to welcome ourselves to reality. Now, obviously, this is a repress. This is definitely not, by any means, the original pressing. This came out in 2006, and it's the reissue of the Adolescents' legendary 7-inch Welcome to Reality, which came out in 1981, Frontier. This, the only difference between this 10-inch, yeah, it's a 10-inch, and the original 7-inch, is I believe the song Richard hung himself, or it might be the song Losing Battle. I think Richard hung himself was on the 7-inch. I don't remember which one's on the original 7-inch, but one song is literally the difference between this and the 7-inch. I've never owned the 7-inch, especially not the original pressing, so I can't really comment on that. I would love to, and if somebody wants me to own it, y'all can send it my way. I can give you some of that PayPal coin for that fucking beautiful 7-inch record from the Adolescents from 1981. Oh my god, yes. But let's take a look at this cover, which, by the way, this review is going to be more personal reflection, less informative news about Adolescents, because they're a legendary OC hardcore band from like 1980. They don't really need an introduction. Most people who are watching this review already know who they are, so I'm not really going to go into how they formed and this and that, because that information's already out there. There's documentaries made about them. I just kind of want to tell you about this album, this 10-inch right here, and how much it means to me, because honestly, I don't think I've done a review over a 10-inch yet, at least not a 10-inch punk rock record. Let's look how beautiful that is. The color of this record really does fit the vibe on the cover. See? The vibe on the cover. We have the band there, it's the next to us, a tomb, right? We got Casey Royer up there on top, dressed as a priest, and he's pointing upwards. He's pointing upwards. Welcome to reality. Of all the punk rock records from the 80s, you know, this is one of those that just has a very, speaks for itself, very deep, heavy-hitting piece of symbolism in the artwork. You know, Welcome to Reality. It is, and the songs on this. Welcome to Reality, obviously the self-titled track, Losing Battle, Things Start Moving, and Richard Hung Himself. One of the most legendary songs by the Adolescents, aside maybe Into the Black Hole. And, you know, Self-Destruct, Who Is Who, Amoeba. I love the Blue Album is my favorite album by the Adolescents. Most people say that, although I do love almost everything they've ever made, from the Blue Album to their brand new Crop Duster. I don't really care for the art on Crop Duster, as I've mentioned before. I feel like a lot of the legendary old school hardcore punk bands have come back in the recent few years and have made albums addressing and criticizing President Donald Trump just to stay relevant, and it's okay to criticize the president. I love that. I love it when people speak out against the president, whether it's Trump, Obama, Bush, whoever's next, even Bernie, when they do stupid shit, call them out. But for Donald Trump, for George W. Bush, I was alive when Bush was in power, obviously. For some presidents, for some leaders, for some politicians, it is so fucking easy to make fun of them. And it's so damn easy that a lot of acts, a lot of artists, bands, not even punk bands, but people in general, they just take the easiest things they can find to stay relevant. Especially, and I'm not talking shit on the Adolescents, because in my opinion, of all the old school hardcore punk bands to do this and to really milk it was MDC. Mind Trump. Oh my god, they really milked it the hardest on the using Donald Trump as a bandwagon to stay relevant. That album, I've heard it before. I heard it a few times when they released it. I didn't buy it because I'm not spending money on that. It's just not good. The Mind Trump album, there's a couple of good songs on it, but it's not worth spending like $20 on. Like I got a couple of songs digitally, but MDC, I'll talk about them later. But yeah, let's just get back to the Adolescents. The Adolescents, their sound has changed throughout time. My favorite Adolescent sound stems back from these days, from the early '80s. The Blue Album, the Welcome to Reality 7/10 inch. I like the complete demos. I got that. Just the raw, aggressive, just fuck you, fuck authority. That just they don't scream, but just the raw sound. It just sounds like when I listen to this record right here, especially the Blue Album, because most of these songs, they're on. When I listen to this record, the Blue Album, or the complete demos, and even the Brats and Battalions, that's my second favorite album by the Adolescents. That's their second album. Those two albums, I feel this raw, explosive anger that is being channeled through these kids. Adolescents. Adolescents. They're angry youth. That's the vibe that I get from albums such as Welcome to Reality, and especially with the way you see it on the cover. These motherfuckers, although I was not alive in 1981 to see them live, I've seen videos of them live. I've heard recordings of them live, and I've heard stories from people who have seen them live back in the day. And man, all I gotta say is, if I was there, holy fucking shit, that would have been killer to see the Adolescents live in their prime. They still play today, and they rock hard, but like even with Black Flag, when they came back to do What the in 2013, yeah, they were good, but nothing compares to when they were in their prime in their adolescent youth days. That youthful aggression. You do you can still carry some of it with you to your 40s, 50s, 60s years old, but the same raw energy doesn't really. Some people can carry it, like Iggy Pop, motherfucker. That is like 70 years old and he still got it, but with a lot of bands, like, you can't really jump around on stage and just go self-destruct. And the feeling of absolute annihilation, the feeling of total destruction, just total ripping your vocal cords out and just live fast, die young. I feel that in this album. And Welcome to Reality in the Blue Album, and in not Battalion Saints, Brats and Battalions. Battalion of Saints are good too. But Welcome to Reality is such a good album because it's a good song. Although everybody watching this pretty much knows the lyrics. Let's see. Welcome to Reality. Blood so deep the horse must hold his head up high in the valley of decision where a third of the world will die. Beat your hoes and plows into the axes and spears. As the armies meet in a battle they've predicted for years. Let the weak say I'm a warrior. Bring down the warriors. Let the faithless regain faith. Your faith is hopeless. The prophets and psychics and military agree. Continue crisis leads us straight to World War III. Roll out the red carpet, let the angel of death right in. To the valley of decision, or let the man begin. Apocalyptic madness, 2/3 of the world in sadness. The other third is gone, but the insanity lingers on. Crumbled cities in an aftermath of hate. No way to stop it because now it's too late. The Antichrist, his mission is done. The dead are the only lucky ones. Are you ready? The picture's painted. You see where that's going. That's talking about Welcome to Reality. Welcome to Reality on the cover. That cover really depicts what the fuck I just read. The world's at war. Look at it. The adolescents are sitting around a tomb, and Casey's looking up. It's a very grim sight. This band saw the many atrocities that were taking place around the time, and they really put it into words, and they put it onto the cover here. There was a lot of punk rock bands from the early 80s who made songs about World War III. Bad Religion, World War III, DOA, World War III, Adolescents. They don't have a song called World War III, but TSOL. There are so many legendary hardcore punk bands who made songs about World War III, because in the early 80s, everybody thought it was going to happen. Russia, China, and, a lot of the biggest superpowers in the world were kind of gritting their teeth at each other, and everyone literally thought World War III was going to break out at any given time. Thankfully, it didn't. But, still, so they were still worried about World War III because of all the shit happening all around the world. But, yeah, Welcome to Reality. It really, and honestly, that song put out back in 81, still relevant 2019. Very relevant 2019. So it hasn't lost its feel. It hasn't lost anything that it once had. It's still fucking relevant. Unfortunately, it's a very deep song about just the apocalyptic times that we are living in, and what just, it's a true reflection, man. So I love the Adolescents. They are right to the fucking point on it, and they use such poetic justice to describe, and honestly, and they even use some biblical references too. The Antichrist, his mission, done, the dead are the only lucky ones. The Antichrist mission, and they even use some biblical references in this, which not a lot of punk rockers use biblical references because the Bible's full of shit. And most punks made songs against the Bible, as they should. We should question religion, we should question politics, question everything, call everything out. But they even use some biblical references that help bring the point out there. Welcome to reality. This is happening. What are you gonna do about it, huh? The next song on here is called Losing Battle, which is about suicide. Can't handle this life anymore. Stare in the mirror when I ask what for. Just a miserable monster or part, dangling at ropes, and a good start. Crumbling down into a mess. Too many problems that tell me I'm less than the good God who watches above, who'll damn you to hell and then tell you to love. Now suicidal, caught in a trap. Can't get out, don't want to fight back. Now the firing squad is set to give me the bullets to help me forget. Thinking smart, but I'm acting dumb. Come on, tell me which side is won. Just one message before my head explodes. You can't win the losing battle that you didn't know. That's not the end of the song, but I'm getting goosebumps. I have screamed that as a teenager when I was seriously depressed about life and suicidal and shit. That last part there. Thinking smart, but I'm acting dumb. Come on, tell me which side is won. Just one message before my head explodes. You can't win the losing battle, didn't you know? You can't. That right there, I'm not going to go into the depth on that song because I might start pouting like a little bitch, but Losing Battle is just the perfect song to explain suicidal depression. Life sucks. Fuck it. I'm not going to go into depth into that one. The instrumental really plays a part in it too with all of these songs. Things Start Moving. Here we go. This song is just about tripping out some hardcore shit. Things start moving that never did before. The blue and purple dragons have me rolling on the floor. I look the other way and I see a cat fight, but I don't mind it because I'll be fighting for the rest of the night. Things start moving, but tell me what happens when everything around me starts laughing. Things start moving that will never again, but I need to know where last night was spent. Things start moving. Yeah. Wait. This third verse here. Things start moving and they never will again. Red and blue flashes from cars black and white. Point guns at the rocket for speeding 85. That song is just about getting fucked up. That's pretty much what Things Start Moving is about. Which it fuels into the rest of these songs. Welcome to Reality is about the apocalyptic world that we live in. Losing battles about suicide, and now we're taking drugs to try to cope with it. This is a very dark 10-inch on a very beautiful white colored record, which, you know, it's beautiful, but it's the color of death. I don't know if you can see it 100%, but it's got it's a very light gray tone color with some white splattered in there. It's just the color of death. Purple, I'd say gray smokish smog with some white and black splatters in there, if you can see that real well. I don't know if you can. But fucking god, dude, that's just fucking crazy as shit. And the final song on this album is called Richard Hung Himself, which everyone knows Richard Hung Himself. Pop the door. I'm not gonna read that one. That song is just a very descriptive way on how Richard hung himself, how he committed suicide. I don't feel like reading the lyrics of that song. Everybody knows it. In my opinion, D.I. did it best. But Jesus fucking Christ. I just wanted to talk about Adolescents Welcome to Reality a little bit because I've never really talked about this one before. I've talked about the Blue album. I might talk about the complete demos next. And then Breath of Battalions, but that's probably all I'm going to do for right now. I don't usually do multiple different album reviews by the same band because I like to keep things fresh. I like to jump all over the place, but I really love the Adolescents. I mean, look at my hat here. Manila hat. Urban Waste. Adolescents. Yeah, I got the fucking Adolescents pin on my hat. I just grew up with this band, so their lyrics have just always touched me in ways. Just helped me get through some of the toughest times in life, and the spellbinding guitars and just the raw sound of the instrumentals along with the vocal expression of the band, it just really sets me on fucking fire. It makes my heart race sometimes. It makes me really, if I'm incapable of talking about my feelings or just venting or just If I'm incapable, if I feel trapped in a little cell, if I feel trapped or just whatever, if I feel fucking dead inside, I can put the Adolescents on, and it'll almost shoot my depression right in the head, and I'll just spill out. Either write it down on a piece of paper, make a video, talk to someone. The Adolescents are really good. They're, at least their original content, their first 2 albums, this 10-inch, you know, Kids of the Black Hole, Creatures, Who Is Who. Amoeba doesn't really hit me hard. That's just, I think, in my opinion, Amoeba's more of a pop song. But Losing Battle, Things Start Moving, oh, Welcome to Reality. Those songs are so fucking deep, and when I'm in the right mood, they just lift me out of it. Because it just really helps me vent, channel my own anger, my own frustration, my own trauma, my own emotions through those lyrics, and just scream it out, turn the sound system all the way up, and you know what I'm saying? I could go on for hours and hours and hours about this, but that's all I want to say for now, guys. This is the Adolescents. Welcome to reality. Thank you to Frontier Records for reissuing this in 2006 on a beautiful, death-like, gray and blackish, smog-looking color. It really fits the album. One more look at the album. Adolescents. Welcome to reality. And there's the back there, Frontier Records. Anyway, guys, I'm Anarka Akaza, and das vidanya.